our environmental struggle. Us white rabbits want to treat everyone like the bears. And we in turn want to be treated like that ourselves. Equal. Totally equal treatment. In general, Horace's opinion is that you won't see our next generation technology until it's time for us to see it. And we'll know it's time for us to see it because it'll be rather obvious. It'll be sooner rather than later, my gut feel. But it's been building a long time. It's kind of like stealth bombers. You'll see it when it's time for you to see it. But the reason has nothing to do with money. If it had anything to do with money, none of these groups would have been behind pushing the internet out there. Why would they want the internet out there? It's subversive. Yeah, not everything is what you see is what you get. A lot of it's wide sky. What you don't see can kill you. Whether it be the internet and how that one got out of the hole, or those stories haven't fully been written yet, or our next generation, our energy technology and the stuff that's going to be mind-blowing coming down the pipeline. But the reason you're not seeing it now is really simple. The bears don't need air conditioning. Just like the bears don't need B-2 bombers. They just don't. And that's the same type of thinking. Hopefully that makes sense. But I wanted to wrap up 11. 11 is going to be a little shorter than most. I tried to keep them underneath an hour, but no such luck as they put them together. But I wanted to give a lesson on practical politics. I want to talk about the difference between being a problem and creating a problem. You see, I was challenged on John McCain, on why Obama would be better than John McCain. And I'm going to explain this very simply. During my lifetime, John McCain's been in the Senate a long, long time. And every time, and you can look this up, every time an anti-gun vote came up, a vote to restrict gun rights or vote against the NRA position. We'll go pro and anti-NRA. Every time an anti-gun vote came up, if the vote was not close, he would vote the NRA position. He would vote against Teddy Kennedy. He would vote totally for the NRA. But every time the vote was close, every time the vote had a chance of winning, of restricting gun rights, of going against the NRA, he every single time voted with Kennedy. Every single time voted against the NRA. Why does John McCain do that? Because he's a traitor. He's there to lead you to your doom. He's the Bolshevik in the room. He's not what he appears. He is undercover lover, just not for us. He is dangerous. But blatantly so. It's funny how just most whites just don't get it. He is a problem. John McCain is a problem because he's white. He looks like us. John McCain, if he were elected president, does not create any problems. He is a problem. He's a permanent sore. John McCain is just a pain. Obama creates a problem, doesn't he? Yes, Obama creates a racial problem. Sure he does. You see, most of the neocons don't dislike Obama for the reasons you think. The neocons dislike Obama for the common sense reason, that's Israel. They dislike Obama. John McCain dislikes Obama for one thing. He's so blatant. You see, McCain has never been so blatant unless you really understand him. McCain has sold you out, but not so blatantly. I mean, he's not going to put a communist as a diversity czar. He's not going to do that. That's in your face. That's hitting white rabbits over the head with a carrot. That's what you see is what you get. No, John McCain's wide sky. See, but Obama creates a problem. When he gets elected, the day he gets elected, he creates a racial problem. That racial problem gets a reaction, doesn't it? Yes, all these white rabbits out protesting this, protesting that. They're getting upset. I mean, these town halls are very heated. And of course it's racial. Of course it's racial. You go to Huffington Post, they all but tell you that. In fact, they're explicitly telling you that. So Obama creates a problem. That problem's racial. That racial problem gets a reaction from the Republicans, from the Republican voter. But guess what? The neocons cannot develop a solution. They can't. They have to avoid it, ignore it, or try to get around it. They can't go there. You see why Horus likes that? It's like a dam building. It's like water. It's like a dam sitting there and water just coming up it. It's gonna bust. That's problem, reaction, solution. Being a problem like John McCain has been a thorn in our sides for decades. Creating a racial problem like Obama does, being so blatant and over the top, well, that's wonderful. It's about time. You got to get honest. Because one gets a reaction. Oh, you know, John McCain gets elected, and they're sitting there, they're ticked off. Even Rush Limbaugh doesn't like John McCain. He's ticked off, but it doesn't do anything. Obama, oh my goodness, talk about a reaction. And you'd think they would have done it years ago, but he's so blatant. It's obvious. It's what you see is what you get. That's what you want. He creates a problem. That problem gets a reaction. The funny thing is that the current leadership of the Republican Party cannot develop a solution. They got to subvert it into these tea parties and other things like that. You see where that's going. They know what a consistent message and what type of solution it would go with. Something racial. They can't go there. So what is the objective? The objective is to stay on message, and I've given you several different talking points for Obama, and some of those I'm sure you develop yourself. But once you're on a consistent message, it creates a problem as well. We've already created many problems for them. So far, they're trying to ignore the obvious solution. They're either they're not reacting to us directly, or they're ignoring us, which is not reacting at all, or they're ignoring the obvious solution. But all we do is get louder. And the more pain that Obama delivers, and that's what he's going to deliver, well, it's a long time coming. But that's a lesson in practical politics. There are many ways to go after an opponent, but Obama does that immediately by creating a problem, an obvious racial problem, which gets an obvious racial reaction, which has an obvious racial solution. But our opponent can never develop it. One, most of them can't see it. Two, well, they don't know what to do. That's wonderful. And that leads to the last topic for 11, and that's talking points are not owned by anyone. They're community property. You don't own it until you get famous using it. If you get famous using, oh yes, we can, like Obama, he owns it. The person that wrote it will never get credit. He'll get a big paycheck, he'll smile to himself or herself, but that's the way it works. And so it's kind of a selfless act giving out a talking point, but at the same time, the person using it can be very greedy, and that's totally okay. That's practical politics. You want to be a leader, the one thing you want to do, you want the brightest people in the crowd to write your talking points. You want to stay on message, and you'll be amazed at all the friends you have. But they'll all be your talking points. The history books will record them as yours. That's the way that works. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking something you read on the blog or taking something I've said and making it your own and getting famous with it. You don't have to give me credit. Most of you are listening to this because you're nice white rabbits and you got a conscience and you're worried about white rabbits. That's wonderful. But when it comes to practical politics, just be a political animal. From this point on, I'm going to grab concepts off the blog and everyone else, and I'm not giving anyone credit. You know, if you use it, if you use anything I have, whatever. One of the reasons I don't use my name on this is not because I care that they know who I am. I could care less. Because what are they going to do? We play baseball. We play by the rules, and someone smart is going to figure out who I am. But I don't want you thinking. I don't want it personalized. Bob has talked about this. One of the challenges to the mantra is it was referred to as Bob's mantra. Well, that is a challenge because people have a conscience and they don't want to use his stuff without giving him any credit. But that's the antithesis of practical politics. You must use our stuff mercilessly and greedily for your own self to help out white rabbits in the long run. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with standing up in front of a bunch of Republicans or Democrats saying, look, Africans have 50 plus countries in the world. Africans have half the world's natural resources. Africans have the largest population the world has ever seen, and Africans have the greatest piece of farmland the world has ever known, Africa.